Jaya Rathamadava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Balava Giri Bharadhari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Balabha Giri Bharadhari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Ashtotara Shata Shishimadhi Seva Ingrace Si Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Shishiguru and Shiguranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, General History. Chapter 4, Drumila explained the incarnations of the Lord to King Nimi. Text number 12. Iti pragrinatam tesham striyotyaptu taptarshana darshayam asasrushusham Swarchita kurvatir vibhu iti pragrinatam tesham striyotyabhutta darshana darshayam asashusham Swarchita kurvatir vibhu iti pragrinatam tesham Striyotyabhuta darshana Darsayan ashashusham Swarchita kurvatir vibhu. Please chant. Iti pragrinatam tesham Striyutyabhuta darshana Darshayan ashashusham Swarchita kurvatir vibhu. Iti pragrinatam tesham Striyotyabhuta darshanam Darshayan ashashusham Swarchita kurvatir vibhu. Iti thus pragrinatam who were offering praise tesham in their presence striyaha woman ati abhuta very wonderful darshanaha in appearance darshayam asha he show shushusham reverential service suarchitaha nicely decorated kurvatihi performing vibhuhu the Almighty Lord. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. While the demigods were thus praising the Supreme Lord, the all-powerful Lord suddenly manifested before their eyes many women who were astonishingly gorgeous, decorated with fine clothes and ornaments, and all faithfully engaged in the Lord's service. Purport. Lord Narayana show His causeless mercy towards the demigods by relieving them of their false prestige. Although the demigods were proud of their personal beauty and female companions, the Lord showed that He was already being adequately served by innumerable gorgeous females, each of whom was far more beautiful than any female companion imagined by the demigods. The Lord manifests such uniquely attractive woman through His own mystic potency. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurube Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Romapada Swami Iti Namine. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirveshesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. It is quite revealing narration of the pastimes of the Lord, because just to picture the scene, and especially from our perspective, that were devotees who are engaged in the service of the Lord by the grace of the spiritual master. And we see here elevated devotees who are directly in the presence of the Lord. And although they approach the Lord not with the proper service mood, however, as devotees, they were able immediately to recognize their mistake, and then with a very sincere heart, they and with shame in their offensive mentality, that they offer these beautiful prayers to the Lord. When you hear the prayers, I mean, these are not, we have to understand that if you make it into the Srimad Bhagavatam, you're a serious devotee. You know, these are not ordinary devotees. And you can recognize the depth of their understanding and their devotion by the quality of their prayers. They're very beautiful, the prayers that were offered. There were not many, you know, there were like maybe 3 verses of prayers. But they were very beautiful and to the point. First, to understand and to praise and glorify the Lord's position as a supreme controller. And then to glorify the position of those who are perfectly aware of the Supreme Lord. And to glorify also the supreme example of the Lord and the teachings of the Lord. So they were very nice prayers. And yet, in this verse, we come to understand that the Lord was not impressed. And the reason he was not impressed is because although the prayers were offering with sincerity and with devotion, they were mixed with an unwanted element. And that unwanted element was pride. So, out of the Lord's mercy for the devotees, and the mercy is bestowed upon those who are sincere. The direct mercy of the Lord to actually correct and eliminate the unwanted thing, expose it and eliminate it. That mercy is because there is sincerity, there is devotion. But nevertheless, the Lord display his opulence in order to humble the demigods. So, we can sort of go deeper into this performing devotional service, and still, when it's still mixed with pride, when it's still mixed with the false ego. We discussed that in the last few classes, that when there is this mix, then it's not pure, it's not unalloyed. Then when you have this term unalloyed, means that there's nothing mixed, it's a pure thing. When it's alloyed, means that something else you add to create, a particular substance. So, so this mixed devotion is something that we have to understand. It's important to understand for most of us who are dealing with devotional service in that stage. That stage is described by Srila Rupa Goswami as Prakrita Bhakta or Prakrita Bhakti, which means is devotional service that is mixed with material propensities or with the material nature. When our material condition is mixed with our sincere devotion. And the Lord is very kind, and He accepts that devotion. He explains that in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, when He explains, the 4 types of person that comes to Him, that takes shelters on Him. And all these 4 classes, they have some motivation. It's not pure. Artha, Jigyasa, Artharti, and Artha, Jigyasa, Artharti, and the Jnani. So these 4. Someone who is in distress approaches the Lord. Someone who is looking for wealth approaches the Lord. Someone who is inquisitive approaches the Lord to want to know about things. And someone who is trying to understand the absolute truth and trying to achieve liberation. So the Lord said that all of them are dear. In the next verse that follows that, all of them are very dear to Him. They're dear. However, it's not pure bhakti. And the process that the Lord gives us is to purify, to take the unwanted things and eliminate them. So the process of bhakti sometimes is explained as the how does it say, the process and the means and the end for achieving pure devotional service. This process of bhakti is the means and is the end at the same time. So by the process of devotional service we become purified, and as we become purified, then pure devotional service manifests. So the unwanted things get taken away. So it's quite something, this mercy specifically for those who are sincere and still are inflicted or are afflicted by material condition, and especially our acharyas explain that the root of these all anarthas is the desire for prestige and adoration and pride. So these things, are very much together, and they're basically fuel or manifest all the different anarthas that are there. This desire, in one sense, Krishna singled them out by saying, Icha Dvesha Samutena, that this desire to be, supreme, the desire of the position of Krishna, the desire and hate The other thing is this, which manifests with envy. So I want Krishna's position and I hate Krishna for his position. I remember one time my Guru Maharaj was giving this class about this verse. And the first time I came to realize, wow, I think myself as a servant of Krishna. And I developed, as a servant, some, attachment to the deities and things like that, and to the process of devotional service. But as long as, and the way my Guru Maharaj puts it is that to have this body is already means that I'm here with this body because I desire Krishna's position and I hate Krishna. So having this body, my spiritual master put it, is like a, your how you say when you put an animal and you label it like that? There's a word for that. There's a word for that. You know what I mean. So it's like we have that thing printed in our consciousness. This is the thing, the original thing. This is what having us here. As long as I have this conception of I am apart from Krishna, that's the root cause. Icha and dvesha, desire and hate. So the process of Krishna consciousness is to purify us from that. And we see that when Krishna becomes merciful due to the sincerity of our attempts, he shows mercy through humbling. In some way, most of us experience that, being humble by Krishna's arrangement. Sometimes, we may observe that a devotee or someone are displaying the symptoms of pride and arrogance and acting in such a way that causes so much disruption in others' devotional service. And it goes on and it goes on. And we think, why Krishna is allowing someone like this to go on and continue without being accountable? And the reason is that Krishna's mercy, this mercy is very special. When Krishna displays this type of mercy, in which he humbles us directly by exposing, even publicly or in some way, our anarthas, then that's very special. If it doesn't happen, you're still not ready for that mercy. Means that you still have some way to go. On the other hand, we have sometimes we find ourselves in the receiving end of someone's pride and arrogance. And in general, we may react to that with our false ego. But if we somehow or other are able to receive the mercy of the Lord and remain sort of control, instead of reacting, we try to accept Krishna's arrangement in a humble way, then that activity, that arrangement that sometimes challenges us, also can function as a mercy of Krishna in terms of allowing us to really take shelter of this position of humility and tolerance and respect. And we can actually progress to that. So the mercy is there. In all circumstances, the mercy of the Lord is right there. But specifically here, it's quite amazing how this is displayed. That the demigods are offering these beautiful prayers, and then the Lord, not impressed, actually humbled them by crushing their pride in their supremacy of their beauty and their opulence. And take in consideration this, there's something very paradoxical in the whole pastime. Because it's not a Narayana Rishi. They're the emblem, or they're the supreme manifestation that they displayed is of renunciation, this nice karma. They're being praised by that, or praised by that, by their nice karma, which is pure renunciation. And yet, when they manifested the opulence to correct the demigods, they manifested this opulence of a display of supreme, like sensuous opulence. Then these rishis, renunciants, in their ashram, by the Himalayas, dressed in deer skin, and then all of a sudden, in front of these demigods that are so proud of their beauty and their opulence, there manifests the same type of opulence, but something that they can ever imagine. So there, these two rishis, surrounded by this supremely beautiful woman that were serving them with great devotion. Which is something quite paradoxical from the sense, that that's not what you expect from a renunciant. So the Lord is showing something quite wonderful, because you can say that this omnipotency of the Lord perfectly coexists with their renunciation, with his renunciation. It's something that you cannot see like that. When you see someone who is fabulously, supremely opulent, and then perfectly, supremely renounced. So the Lord can manifest all this opulence and be supremely renounced. Supreme opulence, supreme renunciation. Supreme influence and fame supreme renunciation. Supreme beauty, supreme power, supreme renunciation. It's like, it can perfectly coexist in the Supreme Lord. So, it's quite a powerful display, specifically for the demigods who were, who had so much pride about their beauty and their opulence. So when they see this, they can understand, again, they're very advanced and intelligent beings. So they can understand immediately the lesson of the Lord. And it's something that also, in the situations, if we have the fortune to be humbled by the Lord, when we feel some pride of our devotional service, if we're sincere, it becomes very obviously and revealed to us that actually I was prideful. And you can take the lesson. If you're not ready for the mercy of the Lord, then you will become offended, or you become angry, or you become frustrated, or you become like that. Some negative emotion will come. So, our acharyas explain, our scriptures, our tradition explains that pride and service cannot coexist. In our level, this pride and devotion and service, that's something that it doesn't work. It creates such an obstacle, and it has such a negative sort of domino effect in our devotional service that can become very dangerous. It can actually destroy the opportunity that we have in this lifetime to actually become pure. So pride is very, 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 very dangerous for our devotional service. Therefore, we pray to the Lord, don't let me go. don't, whatever it is, just, even if I'm going to be screaming out of pain, just have mercy on me, And we will welcome that mercy. Even if it's a painful arrangement of being publicly humble. Especially when we become so proud, and with pride we pursue position, power, adoration, prestige, all the things as devotees. And then as we go further on that, when we get humble, then it's very hard. The farther we go with our pride, the painful arrangement it is. This public exposure of our anarthas and unwanted things. So we can learn from this that even on those levels of responsibility and service to the Supreme Lord, even in places that are mostly in the mode of goodness, like the heavenly planets, pride is very strong. It doesn't go. It doesn't go. And just to appreciate the level of devotion of those personalities, those demigods, and still dealing with that, what to speak of myself? If they have that problem, what to speak of myself? So we have to pay attention. It's something that is very, very important in the practice of devotional service. Therefore, our teachings tell us that we have to, I think it's Srila Rupa Goswami or Srila Sanatana Goswami, that say that we have to have this third verse of the Shastaka, basically wear it like the neck bead. Trinara pi sunichena tarora pi sahishnuna amanina mananina kirtani yasharahari. I know one student of ours back in time, in the Sunday school, eventually he have a tattoo. He have it tattooed here, the Trinara pi sunichena verse. Yeah. So, So, humility, tolerance, respect, and curbing our false ego. These four things are singled out. And they're singled out because they're the most powerful counteracts of pride, of loss, anger, all these things. Greed. And unfortunately, as conditioned souls, most of us are infested with this type of things. And we cannot take it for granted. We cannot take it lightly. In one sense, it is clever to assume that those things are there. It's part of this body. Icha, dvesha, samutena. When we are in this material world, it means we're conditioned by those things. It's an infestation, and it have to be clear, purified. So it's a constant reminder and practice. And boy, get a little distracted by, the opulences that devotional service bring, and you can go down into a spiral down like that. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says this Taranga Rangini. We're surfing on the waves of this devotional service. But it is not real. It's almost like, we taking it for granted. This is something that, yes, I am this or I am that. It's the last snare of Maya. Our acharyas put it like that: pride, all the efforts that we do, just like yesterday class that was highlighting, even crossing all the influence of the senses, even controlling the senses, and being able to overcome the miseries that brings, sense, the sensual type of life. Even people, yogis, transcendentalists, surpass that. If we lose the focus, just like Krishna Archana was saying yesterday. If we lose that focus, the purpose that is for the Lord's pleasure, then for sure we're going to drown in a puddle. Drown in a puddle of anger, pride, any of these things. It's quite startled the whole narration. And in one sense, if we put ourselves, the demigods are finding themselves is like, oh my God, what am I doing now? Because they're devotees. And if you find yourself that you're doing the wrong thing and you're offending, the Lord or the Lord's representative, if you become aware, then, you start to being able to see and appreciate the different elements of this situation. So I won't be able, I can recognize that if I deviate, I'm finished. If I deviate, it's gone. I'm actually putting myself in a very dangerous position for my spiritual life. And the fact is that we've seen it so many times. So some of us who's been around for quite a bit, you see people come and go. A lot of people come and go. Prabhupada mentioned in the purport of, or in a class of that, of the, Chaturvedi Bhajanteman verse, that don't be surprised for those who are gone, be surprised for those who stay. In general, when we have some material motivation and come to devotional service, which is the majority, with some material motivation, once the material desire is sort of being started to being addressed, then, or not, then we leave. We could do that. And then we're seeing it. We've seen it many times. Devotees leaving. And in general, it all follows a particular pattern in general. And the pattern is that once the devotee starts to hit these obstacles, and these obstacles manifest in terms of relationship with others, other devotees, situations that arise in the matter of service, in the matter of interactions, then it comes to frustration. From frustration there's some anger, and then from anger there comes offenses, and then out. No, it just disconnected. You always follow that pattern. Well, I would say always, but in general it follows that pattern. So it is quite the ones that survive are the ones who are able to internalize those moments in which we are facing an obstacle by the Lord's mercy, and we become humbled by that arrangement. And as we become humbled, then we can properly process and then grow and continue. And like that, we have faith that the Lord will take care of me and will help me, and I'm welcome in one sense when these situations happens. Because some of these anarthas, I'm not fully aware how they're working on me. And those are the most deep ingrained in my consciousness. And then when they become exposed, although painful, it is a wonderful mercy that in general, makes us grow and flourish in Krishna consciousness. I stop here. Any comments or questions, Prabhus?
In this particular circumstance, the prayers by the demigods to Naranarayan were ones of acknowledging his position, and by implication their position being subservient to him. So you were today's verse is dealing with their becoming humbled because they get a graphic display of what it is that they're attached to, and it's the root of their pride, that particular opulence. So you were explaining that persons may be humbled and in their devotional life somehow when their pride is exposed. And you were saying that sometimes that kind of humbling can take a very public picture. It can appear publicly. So I was thinking about the response of persons who do receive that kind of public humbling mercy. The fact is that, as you were explaining, the pride factor causes distress and disruption in the lives of other persons in their devotional life. So there's been a trail of devastation that's been caused. So now the question would be, to what extent does the person who's received that humbling and their pride being exposed as some sort of the public humbling that was arranged by Lord Krishna to assist the person, to what extent does that person, because of the trail of devastation they've left behind them, to what extent does that person have the responsibility to actually not only be humbled in front of Lord Krishna, but also humble themselves in front of all the persons that were at the receiving end of their pride and the disruption that they experience as a result of that person's pride. So I'm just wandering.
Yeah, I mean, it came to mind as you're speaking, the example of Yagai and Madai, how after they received the mercy of the Lord, they realize also the harm that they caused to others. And in order to, and they dedicated their life to serve. So it's like they rededicated their life to serve others. And even as they allow people to express their resentment without, and remaining still humble. I mean, some people, they were so unhappy with them because of their previous abuses that even in their new activities of humble service, they created this god by the Ganges, in which they will serve all the pilgrims and all the devotees in a very humble way, and some people will abuse them back, and they didn't respond. They just took it as, yes, they deserve it, and they deserve more. So that's an example, going, actually by the mercy of the Lord becoming pure. For many of us, when we become humble and we process and grow and learn the lesson, then what it manifests, at least I speak for myself, what it manifests is that you are moving forward in the process of becoming sort of more conscious and better aware of the difficulties that you can cause on others because of my personal desires and conceptions of myself. So you have to act. You have to put, in one sense, once we understand something, we have to act according to that something. And it may take time to fully progress to the perfect stage of, Trinara Pisunichena, But you can see that there is some advancement. You can see that there is some change. And one can, respect that like that. I think ultimately it is important to show that one becomes one's take accountability for the actions that we have made. And we can show, that type of change. I think it's important. I don't know if I touch, what you... Yeah. Anyone else?
Thank you for the class, Prabhu. I was thinking about pride. How do we use pride? We use pride every day in our life.
How do we?
Pride, like we use pride. We become proud. I mean, we have to become proud, in order to, make how it help us grow, or it helps us be brave, so that's material pride, right? So how do we use pride as far as spiritually?
Yeah. It's when that pride is not with me in the center. The problem, the whole problem that makes everything a mess is when I am in the center. When with Krishna and Krishna's devotees are in the center, then all these different things you can do. You can be proud about Krishna and about Krishna culture and about Krishna's devotees. I can be angry if someone is blaspheming Krishna or blaspheming Krishna's devotee. I can be even there is some transcendental envy, that, this devotee is serving so nicely. I would like to serve as nicely as him, or her, type of thing. So, all is when the problem is when I'm in the center, when I put myself in the center of things. That's my understanding. Yeah. All right. Anything else? Thank you very much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.